We're going to begin part 2 of the Lemonbuster's inspection of a Volkswagen GTI. You can see here the release handle for the hood has been broken, which is common on these vehicles. It's been replaced with a metal piece of coat hanger or something. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a look here at this GTI. We're going to start off first by removing the engine cover. As you can see right there, it's got a crack in it. So you can see it a little better. See, it does have a little bit of a crack right there. You can see here, your typical little bit of grime, but overall it's in pretty good shape underneath here. Did have some wiring repair done on the one coil here. This would be number 5 coil has had some wiring repair. You can see overall it's a little dirty underneath here, but overall pretty good shape, pretty clean. See the variable intake counter. This right here is a high spot of coolant leak, thermostat housing, coolant manifold. There's also a plastic pipe that likes to fail underneath here too, but where there's no way to get a shot of that. You can see here these aftermarket wires are a little bit of a bird's nest when it comes to the wiring, and there's stuff everywhere. It's your power steering system and stuff like that, Right here you don't see any signs of leaks. Your coolant's nice and full as it should be. Strut tower is in good shape. See here in the back of the engine, you don't see really any major oil leaks or anything along that line from the top of the engine. So move back here, you see somebody's added a aftermarket light of some sort here. It doesn't appear to be working. You can see your heater hoses in here, core and whatnot. Master cylinder. See the brake fluids and the brake fluid's a little on the dirty side. I'd recommend a flush on it. See here, we had a battery put in. It's got a 1 of 11 stamp on it. See here, I got 550 cold cranking amps. Newer battery. Once again, you can see a real bird's nest underneath here with all this wiring. Also, you can see most of the factory battery tray is missing. See, your auxiliary fuse box is in good shape. This is a real common failure point on these VWs. It likes to melt around these fuses, and I've even seen them melt around these fuses as well. And also this connector, so it controls stuff like the electric fan, the alternator regulator, stuff like that. When they melt, they can cause all sorts of problems. See your hood insulator is all where it should be. Looks like this vehicle at one time was equipped with an aftermarket remote start. It may or may not still be. I have only a factory VW remote at the time being. Put this back on. Take a quick glance at the oil here for you. You can see it's not filthy, but it's definitely not clean. I'd recommend servicing it just because you don't know the history of the vehicle. Alright, at this point we are going to go ahead and move on to our wheels and tires. You can see here, there are 17-inch wheels here. Definitely got some signs of corrosion. Most of the caps are missing. You see it's got factory wheel locks. The key is in the trunk. Overall, we've got about 35 or so, between 25 and 30%, I would say, actually, tire life left on this thing. See, the rotors are definitely a little bit more worn. So we're going to do our best to get the brakes in here. So definitely having some trouble with these wheels. Not allowed to take it off here. There, as you can see, you got a good side of the brake pad there. Looks like you got about 55% left on it, so that's pretty good. You can go ahead and look here, the coil over shock here. You can see the springs in good shape and whatnot. At this point, we're going to go ahead and take a look underneath this corner here. And the first thing you're going to notice here is that the CV boot is torn and it's leaking grease everywhere. Going to need to be addressed. I recommend an axle because we don't know how long it's been like this. You see how your rack looks pretty good. Tie rod on, ball joints control. You can get another shot of that. You can see it's leaking pretty good here. See, it's relatively dry underneath here. No heavy rust or anything along those lines. Your typical surface stuff that would be expected from a 2004 vehicle that's lived in Chicago. See, your rockers are in pretty good shape. see here, you can look at the exhaust. Exhaust is pretty good, got rust on it, typical of these vehicles around here. Overall, the whole underside is pretty good. You see your control arm bushings there. Alright, we're going to move on to the left rear tire here. You can see here. This wheel's in pretty good shape, other than it's got some scuffs on it and whatnot. One thing you can see here, it's got some definite chew or cracking going on in the sidewall here. I definitely recommend replacing this tire because it also only has about 10% left on it. About 1.5, 30 seconds left on it. Definitely not something I would mess around with. Time to replace it. You can see here your rear brakes. Got about 35% left on those. Suspension lasted for a little bit at this point in time. See here, take a look at your rear suspension. Typical surface rust and whatnot, but as you can see, it's all factory stuff. It hasn't been messed with too much. So your exhaust is in pretty decent shape. Take a quick peek at these spider webs again with this other camera that I have here. You get a good look of them there, and also over this area here. The trunk floor is in pretty good shape overall here. See your fuel filler neck and your springs and whatnot here. Pretty good shape. Then you can see this tire is also worn down to about 1:30 seconds. Time for replacement. It's very wore. It's also got the same type of cracked wear on the sides here. You can see this wheel's got some issues. This is also the right rear wheel, by the way, as I didn't say. But yeah, definitely time to replace the tires on the rear here. The front, you could get a little bit life left out of them yet, but they're near their end of their life too. You can see they're still got about 35%. Look like pretty even wear to me. See your control arm bushings and everything like that. You see everything pretty clean underneath here. No real heavy rust. You can see right there that the one of the fuel line holder thing there has been popped or torn loose, probably from going over something low. Lines look to be okay. Is there a nylon plastic based on these VWs? You can see the catalytic converter there, heat shield's still intact. You can see here, you get a good look at the rack. See the CV boots, how it should look. It's all intact there. You see the tie rod end and whatnot. Strut assembly, you see it's not leaking. Brake hoses look pretty good. Real average condition. Control arm bushings, you've seen better days, but they're still in a serviceable area. You can see here we've got about 4:30 seconds left on this right front tire. See the wheel, he has typical flaws like the Aspen. Notice the front tires don't have the same type of wear. See your rotors are wearing okay for the most part, like a VW would. You can see here we've got about 55-60% left on these front brakes. They're looking pretty good. You can keep going on those for a little while. Like I said, I'll just notice this again, you got your wheel arch here is a little bit loose. Take a look here. So you got a little bit of oil leakage going on here. Most of the oil leakage on these VR6s tend to be from the oil filter housing. They love to leak. There's a seal on there. It's kind of a big job. Also see a lot of stripped out drain plugs in the oil pan as well. Okay, at this point we're going to end part 2 of the Lemonbuster's inspection of the Vw GTI.